Welcome to the Newbie Club Festival Edition, where we highlight the top 10 finalists from Nukhufest. I'm Sanjay, the founder of Nuku, and I'm joined by another 25 finalists, Anna-Ester Volozh, director of a short film titled The Wedding Veil of the Proud Princess. How are you doing today, Anna?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. It's a nice Monday, 1 week away from Nukhufest. Very excited to have your film a part of our top 10 finalists this year.
Hmm.
Why don't you tell us a little bit of what your film is about?
So, our animated short film is an adaptation of a short story written by Canadian children's author Ellen Montgomery of Anne of Green Gables fame. It's a lesser known story of hers, written about 100 years ago. The story tells us about a beautiful princess who is, however, proud and refuses all her suitors. And in order to marry the king who conquers all kings, she says that she will not marry anyone else. Thus, a war ensues with no end in sight until a suitor appears who is willing to match her demand.
It's such an interesting premise, and the animation is so intricate, so immersive. You've done such a detailed job at telling the story. I'm curious, how what was the inspiration behind the film, and why did you decide to tell this story?
So those two will sort of come together. My intention with this story was to create fairy tale that feels very classic. This one has not been adapted to anything yet, and I felt like, oh, it should definitely, well, I mean, that's very ambitious, but I would like it to become sort of part of the canon. I know it's not Rapunzel, but I feel like it should be out there. The author who wrote it 100 years ago, I think, did a very good job with it, and I feel like it has this very classic fairy tale structure and feel to it, but at the same time, it has an interesting twist. It's a little bit darker, maybe like Grimm fairy tales. And so in setting out to create this very classic experience, I used Soviet Union animation from 1960, sort of elevated feel to them. They were adapting fairy tales by Hans Christian Andersen, like Little Mermaid in 1968. And they used this very sort of golden age illustration style. And so that was the inspiration, not behind just the way it looks, but behind the way characters move as well. There's like a theatricality to movement. So the main character doesn't move like an actress. In film, she moves like an actress or a dancer in ballet or in theater. And basically I came with this pitch to our art director, Emil, who's based in Denmark. And he loved the idea. And with his experience, over a decade experience working in the field, he was able to bring it to life based on the references.
Amazing. So Emil was like the lead animator, or
He
how
was
did
the
you
lead,
guys work together?
so he was character designer, background designer, artistic director, um, and he wasn't the lead animator, he was one of the animators. He also did a lot of technical stuff as well, and project management. He's really a co-author here.
Okay, great. Nice. And how many animators did you have on the project?
It was actually only 3, plus 2 people that help out additionally. But there was only 3 people, which is very low for a 6-minute animation, but that's why the film took us over 3 years to make.
Oh, wow. Well, I can definitely tell the time and effort, energy put into it. It definitely shows in the film. What were some of the challenges that you faced while making it?
First of all, is like ambition versus what's realistic, because when it comes to really beautiful shots, we're doing 2D animation. So while we can do like a camera turn, that's going to be very, very expensive. So we have to try to find cost-efficient ways to deliver an image that looks expensive and is expensive, but not so expensive as that we cannot make it. And also to have enough stamina to just keep going and going and going and going, and just to sort of be concentrated on the end goal and to make sure that every main collaborator on the project understands the vision. That's my job as a director, to make sure I communicate that.
Of course. I think you've done a good job. The film definitely feels consistent and cohesive.
Thank you.
So, in terms of your approach as a filmmaker, how would you characterize it? Where do you take your influences from? Maybe directors that have inspired you.
I'd say probably Isao Takahata, who is a director from Studio Ghibli in Japan. He's passed away now, but he was very prominent back in the day. My approach is sort of very collaborative in some ways and very tyrannical in others, and those two don't mix. So when I have like an idea and a vision of what it needed to be, like what I wanted to do, that's set in stone, and that's just something that I decide on. But in terms of how we get there, I am 100% relying on the people I work with to tell me what's best because with our artistic director, with our animators, with our composer, they're all pros in their field. They're so much better than I can't even I can't even comprehend how much better they are than me and everything that they do. So I do not tell them how to do their job at all. I sort of rely on their expertise.
Amazing. Trusting when you're working with really talented people, trusting their instincts is part of the equation, as a successful director. I'm curious, the voiceover, how was that, integrated into the film?
Yes, so I was sort of worried about the voiceover because I was apprehensive about approaching the actress, Pixan Lim, who passed away this year. She's an actress who was in her 80s when we recorded a couple years ago. And she's a very seasoned actress here in the UK. Younger people would know her from the Dark Souls series, the game. But yeah, she did a lot of TV and film and all kind of stuff. And I was kind of intimidated by her. But I thought, well, if she says no, then it's okay. So I contacted her agent and they said yes. Usually the thing about voice acting is that it's much less tiresome than acting like a film with your whole body. It's quite a relaxing process compared to filming a live action film. So I think that's maybe why she agreed, because we did it at her own home. That was during COVID as well. So our sound recordist, Amy, she went to the countryside where she lives with her recording equipment and she dialed me on Zoom and we sort of did it together, the session.
That's amazing. What a great story. I love that you were able to just kind of reach out to her agent and work with such a prolific actress, especially right before she's left us. And I think it was great to see her voice a part of it. She's got a great voice.
Yeah, she has such gravitas. And so I was really set on getting her. I was like, if it isn't her, I'll have to rethink the whole thing. But I was very lucky that she agreed.
Did you think that making this film changed you at all as a person or a filmmaker? Maybe you can tell us something that you've learned after having gone through this experience.
Yeah, I'd say it gave me a lot more confidence in my future projects because this was the most ambitious film yet for me. And I was a lot of times during the production, I was like, I don't know if it's maybe too much for me. Maybe if I can't do it. And one of the things that I planned to do, I really couldn't do. So my initial plan was to do digital compositing in After Effects, special effects and all of that, putting everything together. I planned to do it myself, but I overestimated my skills and I just couldn't do it. And luckily, a good friend of mine came in and could do this for me. So he really saved the project for me. But, there was something that I wanted to do. It was a bit too ambitious. I failed to do it, but then there was someone who could help me and we could still make it. So this experience of failing, but then succeeding anyway was really, I think, useful for me. It's okay to have ambition because there are people who will help you.
Absolutely. And is this animation kind of your genre of preference, or
Yeah.
are there other mediums that you like to express yourself as a director?
So I work just in animation, but I also, now having done this, I feel more confident. So plan to also do graphic novels, which is not filmmaking, but it's pretty close to animation. With graphic novels, you can do a much longer story with the same budget because you don't have to animate it.
Amazing. I'm looking forward to seeing what that looks like. So, is there anything specific that you want viewers to take away after having watched your film? I know
Um,
there's kind of a fairy tale that you want to be more recognized, but I'm curious if the message behind it, you have a specific intention.
Definitely. I don't want to tell people what to think because I feel like if I do, then I'll be sort of imposing. I really hope that people can draw their own conclusions intellectually and emotionally, whatever the film makes them feel. But I can say that there's a bit more to it than meets the eye. And the film itself is not just a straightforward adaptation of the original story. It definitely has a very different moral, I think, to the original.
Definitely, yeah, I love that, Anna-Ester. I think there's a nice twist. I agree. I will not give it away. You have to watch it, but I think you'll appreciate as a viewer this short 6-minute film. It sort of ends in this full circle type of moment. So, how do you see the landscape now in terms of opportunities for independent filmmakers?
Well, the animation industry is kind of in shambles, but as in traditional avenues that were there are not there anymore. But from the rubble, a lot of indie animation studios are emerging and becoming very popular with sort of new ways of producing and distributing films, which I feel like gives me a lot of hope. it becomes sort of decentralized. Previously, we had like Cartoon Network, probably everybody knows Cartoon Network. They've closed down. So, after, I don't know, 30 years, it was such I think for a lot of people grew up and they like to see it close down was really heartbreaking. But a lot of smaller independent studios that can do more experimental stuff are popping up. And I feel like that's the future.
Definitely, definitely. Do you have any specific thoughts in AI and how that is affecting kind of the animation space?
With AI, since the beginning of animation is the medium over 100 years ago, there have been dreams in the industry of automating some parts of the process, like it's called the in-betweening. So in traditional animation, the way I do, there's key poses, let's say on frame 1 and from 8, and then you have in between. And the in-betweens are, there is artistry to it, but it's also a very technical job. And then also painting each frame. It's still done by hand these days, so you still have to, but that should be something that technically could be automated. Painting each frame, if you should be able to paint the keyframes and the paint should, but as of now, 2025, there isn't AI that can do this yet. And I've read like an article from 1914 saying any day now, automation is going to bring us this. So it's been over 100 years that we've been hoping to automate some very tedious parts of this job. Not yet, but hopefully in our lifetime. And if it happens, it'll open up avenues for a lot of people to produce much faster. So that'd be great.
I appreciate that perspective because as opposed to kind of replacing and generating characters anew and replacing the entire process of the entire artist, you're saying no, the artist can still generate their own characters and their own world view, but rather help make the process of telling longer stories more efficient.
Yeah, definitely. I think it is an art form, and I don't think AI can do it even a million years from now. I don't think it can, unless it becomes like a sentient person. I don't think, and has like experiences in the world. It has a physical body. I don't think it can be replicated because it's comes from very human, or actually animals do art as well, but it comes from organic experiences. So I know that AI can mimic, like generative AI can mimic it, but it's not, you'll be able to tell the difference. Maybe not at first, but in a while you will, and you'll be able to tell if it's made by human or not. I think the same way like with writing, you can tell when a text is AI generated. So I definitely don't think artists should be replaced in any shape, way, or form by AI, but certain tedious processes that are very technical, I think that we can do with machines.
Interesting, very interesting. So, what are you going to be working on next? What's the next project you have on your slate?
So have another short film in development, and then 2 graphic novels as well, one of which will be starting producing next year already. So it's pretty exciting.
Very exciting. Yeah, I'm looking forward to following the progress of that. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us today, Anna-Ester, and for your participation in Nukhufest. Is there anything else that you'd like to add for our viewers before we wrap up? Your socials, where to find you, how to get in touch?
Yes, so I am a Dragon Bee on YouTube and on Instagram, so please reach out if you want to. And if you wanna, our film is on Letterboxd as well, so if you want to leave a review, I'll read all of them. Even if the viewers hate it, I love reading I love reading hate reviews as well, because it does tell me a lot, something I can learn from. So definitely if you have a time and this film made you feel anything, I would love to hear your opinion.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, be sure to watch and vote for The Wedding Veil of the Proud Princess on Nuku.com and follow Anna-Ester to learn more about her upcoming projects. Leave her a review on Letterboxd and chime in and have a conversation with her about her filmmaking process and her films. Thank you again,
Thank you
Anna-Ester.
very much
It
for
was great
having
having
me.
you.